would like to welcome, and drum roll, the strongest woman in the world, Leah Bavoil, Olympic athlete and powerlifting world champion. And I would also like to welcome Meeta Thareja. She's the Chief People and Social Innovation Officer at Auticon Group. Hi, everyone. Hi. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Yann, I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to start with you because I'm wearing your beautiful pin that you got me from New York, where you just came back. And you know, it's my second home. New York has been my home for many, many years, and it still is in some way. So you came back. We even had, while we were prepping for this panel, I was so happy that I was able to do a FaceTime with your crew, your équipage, as you call it. And you just opened in my former street on 52nd and Lexington. So please tell me about this and how that went.
Oh, it's wonderful news that we've just experienced last week, because after 3 tremendous work of amount work, 3 years of work, we finally opened a beautiful Café Joyeux. So for those who don't know what is Café Joyeux is just an ordinary coffee shop where you can have good food, which is cooked by and served by our Joyeux crew members who have Down syndrome. They are on the autism spectrum, and they are experts. 60 to 80% of our staff in all our restaurants have people with neurodiversity, and they're just extraordinary. And we just have a mission, which is to put back humanity in the, I would say, so-called gray cities, like Paris, like New York, which are beautiful cities on one side, but so much tuned and driven by performance, by who's the best and who's the bigger and who's the greater. I think these cities, they need a little bit of fragility. They need a little bit of humanity. They require more love. And our Joyeux crew members, they have so much to give to our guests who come to these restaurants. So yes, we just opened in Lexington 52, which is a beautiful location. It's more than a symbol, because we are right in the center of Manhattan, where you have all the financial corporation. It's plenty of money. There's so much money. I mean, it's just incredible how much money there is in these neighborhoods. And we just are serving them a beautiful cappuccino, served by a person with a difference that has much more to give. And the funny story is that we opened on the 21st of March last week, which was the World Down Syndrome Day, and it was we say la trisomie 21 in French, so 21 is a symbolic number, and it was our 21st Café, because we have already 20 in Europe, and it's the first one in the US. So we're extremely proud and very happy for all the community of people with neurodiversity.
I'm going to get back to you, but thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's incredible.
I'm so happy to be invited at your table.
Yes.
I thank you. So.
Yes, I'm going to keep coming back to each one of you, so we have like the full scope of how diverse we can be in our brains and in our lives. Leah, you are Superwoman. The strongest woman in the world to me is Superwoman.
I'm trying to.
Yeah. And you're competing in the Olympics.
No, I'm not. My sport is not at the Olympics, but maybe soon, I hope.
Yes. And can you tell us about your journey as an athlete and your life within the context of neurodiversity?
So my life is very different from most people because I'm autistic. So I have been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when I was 21 years old. So at first, the psychiatrists say that I was a gifted child, and because I knew how to read and write when I was 3 years old, and I went to school at 4, and that everything I was facing, like the challenges and everything, it will just go away when I will be an adult, because I was just a child and I have like 2 years different with the other child. And when you have a child that is 4 years old and you have another child that is 6, it seems very little, 2 years old, but when you are a kid, it's enormous, a difference. But I arrive as an adult and I'm like, there is something wrong with me, because a lot of things that seems really simple to do was really, really hard for me. Like to go groceries, to make my groceries, to go to the restaurant, like to just have a normal social life as a student. Even at school, like it was really hard. I was always called like the weirdo. I was weird, having weird behavior, weird answers to people, because I didn't have the cues, I didn't have the social code. And I didn't know how to adapt because I didn't know I was autistic at that moment. So when I got diagnosed at 21 years old, it totally changed my life, because I was like, oh, I'm not crazy, I'm just autistic. But that saved my life, actually, because I was like, what I'm going to do with my life? Will I be able to work somewhere in a company? Like, if people want me to work in their companies and stuff, it was pretty hard for me and my parents too, that I just didn't want to live anymore. Like I commit suicide and stuff, and sport changed my life, and having the diagnosis saved my life too, because I was like, I worth it, I worth something, because I'm good what I do today. I'm a world champion, and nothing in my story, I didn't like sport at all when I was a kid. I was just like reading my books all the time. And yes, I think like being autistic actually helped me to be the world champion that I am, because being neurodivergent, you have it's a strength. Like I love details, I love routine, and in order to be good at what you do, I never get bored of what I do. I go training every day, and I'm like, oh, it's like the first time I go training again, and I just love it.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you.
So I just want to say that's why I'm really happy to be with you today, because it gets me really emotional when you talk about neurodivergence, and that you take that people and you give them work. It's really special to me, like, really.
Special to all of us.
You too, of course, too.
Meeta, tell us about what you do with Auticon, please. And Auticon is actually not just in the UK, it's also in France.
Yes, so I am Chief People and Social Innovation Officer at Auticon, and very proud of the company and the work we do. We are the world's largest autistic majority employer. We are present in 15 countries now. Our vision really is to build a more inclusive world. And how do we do that? We do that by addressing the inequalities in employment for the neurodivergent. And not just, like you said, can we give people opportunities? No, it's not about giving people opportunities. These are very worthy people who can contribute exceptional amounts to any organization. So we also want to showcase the benefits of neurodiversity in society, and what alternate thinkers, what they can bring to workplaces, what they can bring to organizations, and how they can make a difference to the world. It's been heartening to see some of the conversations at ChangeNOW around today. And I think for some of the challenges that we as a race, we as a planet are facing, are going to require people to be thinking differently, for all of us to be able to look at these problems and say, have we been thinking about it in the same way, going around in the same, vicious circles? So this requires right now, it's the need of the hour for all of us, whatever our thinking style, to put our heads together. And we're not going to be able to address any of those challenges if we keep getting stuck in the same rut of thinking patterns, that all of us need to think the same way, interact with the world the same way, behave and learn the same way. No, neurodiversity is actually a gift for our planet. We just need to learn how to harness that gift now.
Yes. And as I mentioned in introduction, it's like nature. Nature is so diverse and it's neurodiverse. If we look at the way nature functions, so it's only normal that humans would be also this way. Actually, when we were preparing for the meeting, you and I, we talked about Bayo Akomolafe, who is an incredible writer whose son is autistic, and I was lucky to see him at a conference in Bristol last year. And he started by saying that the future is atypical. And I think you are all a proof that the future and the present are all atypical, but the inclusion, I think, needs to be something that's more widespread. And going back to you, the lifelong learning, the aspects of learning is such an important aspect of your work.
Definitely. I think, I think that Meeta wouldn't say the opposite about training and learning. It's the key to success for everyone. And I'd like to ask to all of you to think of, isn't it unfair to say that access to school, access to learning is just a reserved, or it's a sort of like exclusively private road to people, to typical people like myself or you? That's not fair. I mean, is it because I have a difference that I don't have access to a training? Then it's like we're having a society that is bringing disability to neurodivergent people. It's not because they have disability, it's because we don't give them access to training. What we have been doing for now the past 3 years at Café Joyeux is that we have launched a school, and in this school we give them a Joyeux diploma we teach them to run a restaurant, to serve, to cook, and it's not only a Joyeux diploma, it's a certificated diploma. It's a diploma that is certified by the French government, and we are trying to expand overseas as we are opening in the US as well, because we think that this is the key to success for everyone. I mean, we all have children or brothers and sisters, and we're very proud that they are doing some great studies and they have a great academic title. Why can we not have the same for people with intellectual developmental disability? Why is that? So our school is purely dedicated to these people, and we already have 17. It's just the beginning, but we're a startup. 17 young adults who have their Joyeux diploma, and they can claim that they are capable, and they can show that to another company and work in another company, because that is what's at stake, is to have a job. Mm-hmm. And this diploma is the key to have a job. And currently we are having 80 students in our Joyeux school called CFAJ. It's a Centre de Formation d'Apprentis Joyeux. It's currently a school dedicated with some national independent jury. It's not me who's giving the diploma. It's a really certified diploma. Mm-hmm. And definitely what you're saying, Nora, is so important. Is we all need to improve, and social improvement goes through professional improvement, goes through recognition, goes through certification. That's why we're running for that. Café Joyeux is not only a restaurant, or 21 restaurants. Café Joyeux is a school, and that is a game changer.
Thank you for sharing that. It's such an important aspect. The lifelong learning. In the lifelong learning, Leah, how were you supported in your training, in your achievements? I mean, again, I want to emphasize the strongest woman in the world. Like, it's a record. You broke records. How do you manage to reach the highest sphere of records by the training? What type of training did you get? What type of support did you get other than the diagnosis, which we were going to go to in the second part of the panel? The diagnosis is so important, but yes, what type of support you got for that accomplishments?
That's hard to say, but I don't really have much support, actually. It's really a loneliness journey when you are on the spectrum, because it's hard to make understand to people that you are different. So, for example, we had another panel where I was invited, and I was with another athlete who is disabled, and he doesn't have a leg. And I'm like, when people see you, they can understand better how it can feel to don't have a leg. You can try to process this and imagine. But when you are someone that can talk to you, seems normal, and because he learned how to adapt, it can be really hard to understand that actually you are different and your brain is different. So the luck that I had is, for example, I was a teacher for 7 years, and the luck that I have is to have people that was really benevolent with me and very kind, and that I trust them enough to tell them, well, I'm autistic and I need help. Because, for example, my director told me, I don't care. I'm going to treat you like all the other teacher. But the problem is, I don't process like the other teacher. And the luck that I have is, yeah, I had another teacher that was really, really kind to me and helped me with my work. Because when I was a teacher in front of my kids, it was really easy because it's my element. But dealing with the relationship with the other teachers, dealing with the academia in general was pretty hard for me. So, yeah, it's hard.
Right.
It's lonely. So that's why, again, when you have people like Yann or Meeta, I'm like, I would have loved to meet them before and have that opportunity because I never had that chance.
But I almost want to say, with what you managed to achieve without the support, think of the potential of what could be done and what could be achieved when people step up, like Meeta. Can you run us through how you work, how you operate? What's the system?
So the problem we are trying to solve is that neurodiversity is not quite understood in society, forget, embraced, celebrated, and supported. So we are trying to address this awareness and understanding gap. And how do we do that? Now, there are different ways of doing that. You can read a book, you can talk about it, all of you sitting here, we can spark inspiration and ideas with one another. Our focus really is neurodiversity and the workplace, because employment for neurodivergent people is a big issue. It remains one of the largest unemployment gap. One of the disabilities with the largest unemployment gap. We don't call it disabilities, but in some countries it is classified as disability. So what we're trying to do is, one, foster understanding in organizations about what does it mean to be neurodivergent, what is neurodiversity all about, and how do you support people in your teams who are neurodivergent. Just as a little fact, 15 to 20% of the world population are neurodivergent, which means that most of us, if not all of us, know someone who's neurodivergent, either at a place of work or at home. So if you think you are in an organization and we don't really have neurodivergent people, I can tell you very confidently, you're wrong. You already have neurodivergent people around you. The question now is, are you going to provide them equity? Are you going to provide them the support that they need to be able to thrive, to become the strongest, the best, and be able to be the best they can be, as much as all of us want that for ourselves? So one is that, the understanding. The second is really helping organizations look at what is the infrastructure you've got in place to support neurodivergent people. And this is all the way from your processes. How are you hiring people? We surveyed 1,000 autistic people in employment last year, and 30% a third of them, 30% of them said that finding a job or recruiting or following the traditional recruitment process has been the hardest part of their career. So, there are some things that are just in our recruitment system that are just not set up for the neurodivergent people. For example, vague questions in your recruitment process. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? How many of us have been asked that random question and we just winged some nonsense rubbish answer and got a job? For most neurodivergent people, that's a challenge right there. They're not going to want to answer a pretty vague and honestly quite lame question. So are we looking at some of those infrastructures in place, right from recruitment to how we support people once they are at work? How are we making sure that they have career development paths which are not the traditional career development paths that we've seen in traditional workplaces? So all of that, the infrastructure. And the third thing, which I think is very important, which I'd encourage everyone in this room to consider, the best way to understand something is to invite it into your life and have it into your life and experience it firsthand. So we encourage organizations to learn through lived experience themselves. So our model is we employ technologists. We are a traditional technology consulting organization. So we employ technologists, but technologists who are on the autistic spectrum, and we place them in organizations on various technology projects, from cybersecurity to AI, machine learning, data science, etc. But what we also do with that is we have a team of experts, psychologists, occupational psychologists, who work with our autistic technologists and with the organizations to help them navigate this new reality and understand neurodiversity and form their best.
I was recently in the bus. I take the bus in Paris, and there was a woman, beautiful woman with her daughter, who was 5 years old, autistic, and was getting very excited by every billboard that she saw. And a good portion of the bus was rather annoyed because she was loud. She was very loud. She was disrupting people on their phone or reading or whatever. And it turns out we were getting off the same bus stop, so I had some time to speak with her. It turns out she was actually going to an appointment with a doctor for her daughter. You started the panel speaking of empathy. I would love for you three to give one example, with the few minutes that we have left, of how to be navigating within society that difference. Because obviously the people in the bus, I'm sure they probably didn't understand maybe, or yeah, I think, as you said, it has to be a lived experience. What type of advice, I mean, obviously you make it very easy to experience it, when we arrive in your space, it's such a happy place. I mean, I don't want to go to regular coffees anymore since I've discovered Café Joyeux, like literally. But what piece of advice would you say to just really embrace your own empathy in order to address the difference? It's a hard question, I know.
I don't know. For your question, the first thing that came to my mind is we all have struggles. We all struggle with something. And neurodivergent struggle with just life in general, because just imagine you are in a country where you don't speak the language and you are trying to communicate.
Yes.
And you try hard. You try really, really hard. But no matter what you do, people are going to look at you and like just what she's trying to say and don't even help you. And I think I always try to understand people and try to make correlation with all the things that I can understand in order to understand them. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So yeah, just remember that everyone has their struggles, and you have to spread love and kindness, because we all need that in our life.
Thank you. Yann? Thank you. And that's true. We all need that.
Very shortly, I was writing down a word that you said earlier that touches me very much. You were speaking about benevolence, saying that all these people around you helped you in your combat, and you're a success now, and you're just a pure testimony. And should I reply to your answer about an advice? I would say, open your heart to difference. We're in a world where everyone is frightened, and we try to gather all together with people who resemble you or who look alike. This is not the future we want. We want diversity, but pure diversity that starts from your heart. Open your heart. Look, there is too much selfishness here in this world that poisons us. I would say that the world is thirsty. The world thirsts for fraternity. The world thirsts for love. And there is, on the other hand, plenty of hope. Look at this ChangeNOW project. I mean, this is amazing, just amazed. So many people who want to make the world better. I'm not here to say we'll change the world. We can make it better. That's already a beautiful story. And all together, we can shake that inertia that crushes us, because there is too much inertia, because we are frightened. If we start opening our heart, then we can revive the soul of the system. We need to revive the soul of the economy. That's why we're doing Café Joyeux, because it's like a company, although it's a non-for-profit company, it's in the system, it's in the city, and it's bringing love, and that's what the world needs. And I would say, just to finish, that if we want just to have a small action, it's very simple. Every morning, it's a daily action. You just drink a Café Joyeux. If you just do that every morning, it's full of joy. Every morning, you know that 100% of your action brings you joy, because you know it's solidaire, because you know it's supporting the mission of recruiting and training people with neurodiversity. And that is a game changer as well. So it is possible. It is. I do trust it.
Meeta, you have the last word, because we're out of time. But
Sure.
you still give us your advice, please.
I think it's just to add on to what Yann said, opening our hearts and minds to the idea that there is no one right way of doing things, and recognizing that neurodiversity is as important to us as a human race as diversity is to the planet. And I'm actually quoting someone, these are not my words, but that's advice that I take for myself, and that's what I'd like to leave you with.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Yann.
Thank you, Nora, for your
Thank you. Thank you. The heart. It's not about the brain, it's about the heart. Yeah?
Congratulations for this preparation. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It touches me so much.